Hello, I'm Sue Shapcott, and today I'm going to compare the data of technology that is readily available for you to practice at home or when you're at the driving range. So specifically, I'm going to talk about the Flightscope Mevo and the data that you can get from that. And I'm going to compare that data to the data that I get from this PHIGOLF or PHIGOLF that you can either use with the PHIGOLF Club, which is the short version that you can swing at home, or if I remove the sensor from the end of it, then the data that I get from the sensor when it's plugged into a regular club instead of into the PHIGOLF Club. Okay, so first of all, then this new technology is very affordable, which is very exciting if you like gadgets, like me. So it's very affordable and it can really enhance your practice. So whether you're practicing to improve your distance control or your smash factor or sometimes your swing path, then this technology can be really useful as a tool to help you do that. And one of the questions that I get from my students who I recommend this technology to is, how accurate is it and how do they compare? So I try to investigate that a little bit so that I could answer that question in a more informed way. So what I did was I collected 3 samples of data, one with the Flightscope Mevo, one with the PHIGOLF, and the other with the sensor from the PHIGOLF stuck into the end of my golf club. And I was looking at the data that I could get from all 3 of those measures. So in this instance, I was comparing the club head speed measure that I got and the carry distance that I got with the ball. And I hit approximately 35 to 40 shots with each club, which gave me just about a large enough sample to compare the data that I was getting from the clubs. Okay, so what did I find? I found that there was a significant difference between the data based on how I was measuring it, whether it was with the MEVO, whether it was the PHIGOLF sensor stuck into the end of the club, or the actual PHIGOLF club itself. And I conducted the experiment collecting data from a 7-iron. And I had the settings for each bit of technology set to that. And in my opinion, the MEVO data was more realistic based on what I know about my game. I'll explain why. But even though I found the MEVO more realistic, that doesn't mean to say that the data that you get from the PHIGOLF isn't useful for your practice. Okay, so in terms of club head speed, then with the MEVO, then my club head speed measured an average of 70 miles an hour. Okay, with the PHIGOLF, which is a sensor plugged into the end of a regular club, then my club head speed measured 75 miles an hour. And we're going to see a uniform pattern here. When I used just the PHIGOLF, then my club head speed measured 80 miles an hour. So there was a range between 70 and 80 miles an hour, with MEVO being the lowest, the sensor at the end of a regular club being the next, and then the PHIGOLF club itself being the next, and had the higher club head speed. So it is quite a range. The difference is significant, and I think that the MEVO data is more realistic compared to the other 2 measurements. Now, in terms of how far the ball was carrying through each of those measurements, again, we saw a significant difference. And with a 7-iron carry distance, so this is in the air, not in total, so a 7-iron carry distance, then my average with my regular 7-iron using the MEVO measurement was 121 yards, so that was in the air. The PHIGOLF stuck into the end of a club. My average distance using that measurement was 136 yards, so that's quite a big difference. And then just swinging the PHIGOLF club, then that measured at 146 distance. So a much bigger range. So the distance measurement had, a lot more difference than the club head speed, even though the differences with the club head speed was still significant. But, that is quite a range. That's 20 yards difference between the distance that I was getting with the MEVO measurement to the PHIGOLF club measurement. And again, in terms of distance and in terms of actuality, then I would like to think that I could carry my 7-iron 146 yards, but I certainly wouldn't be doing that consistently with 35 shots. I might get the odd flyer every now and again, but that wouldn't be a number that I would be comfortable standing up and thinking I could hit it every single time. So the bottom line is that the different ways of measuring your swing speed and the different ways of measuring your carry distance did vary significantly based on what bit of technology that you were using. And the Flightscope was the most accurate, followed by the PHIGOLF sensor stuck into the end of a golf club, and the least accurate measurement was the PHIGOLF club. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't practice with the PHIGOLF and the PHIGOLF isn't useful. I'm not saying that at all, because there's ways that you can use it. First of all, then just recognizing that the data that you get in terms of the club head speed and the distance the ball goes is a little bit inflated. So just kind of bear that in mind when you're practicing, and realize that you can take it down a notch or two. But having said that, the PHIGOLF tends to be fairly consistent. So that means that as long as you know that it's a little bit inflated, then you can still benchmark your club head speed. You can still benchmark the distance that you hit the ball with a certain club. So if it's that part of your game that you're trying to improve, then just by benchmarking, then you can track your improvement. So you can still use PHIGOLF to improve. The other thing about it is that PHIGOLF has a nice function that gives you your swing path, and the MEVO doesn't have that. And so players who have more of an out to in swing path, who are trying to get it more into out, then it's a really nice measure that, again, you can benchmark where you are, and you can hopefully see the change as you practice, and it gives you feedback as you practice so that you can start identifying, okay, that's what a more into out swing feels like, and the data that you get from PHIGOLF is going to help you with that. The other thing to recognize is that PHIGOLF is a relatively young company. They're constantly updating their software, and so there's no reason to think that just because it isn't as accurate as the MEVO right now, it won't be in the future. Okay, so it is improving as the software is updated. So, don't write it off at this point, and, just kind of see how things go. But in the meantime, then realize that the numbers are just a bit inflated. But, it isn't going to detract from using it as a practice tool that can help you improve. And lastly, whether you're using the PHIGOLF at home or whether you're using it at the driving range with a regular club, then it's still good to get feedback. It's still good to get you swinging the club. It's still good to get you thinking about golf, moving, and developing your swing patterns. So regardless of which bit of technology you use, then they're all beneficial. Knowing how to use them in a way that's going to benefit you the most is important. But just because the PHIGOLF isn't as accurate as the MEVO, certainly in my little experiment, then it doesn't mean to say that it's a bad practice tool. Okay, so for those of you who are using the different technologies, I hope that's useful. I've got some videos posted that show you how you can practice with a PHIGOLF and a MEVO using the data that those technologies give you as feedback to help you improve. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.